So welcome back, students. So the previous class we discussed about the different equipments required for the welding process. So now we'll get into the actual welding process. So what's the principle of gas welding? So as we know, gas is the source of fuel. So by burning the gas, we are getting the required amount of heat. So what reaction happens? So since we require heat, the reaction should be an exothermic reaction. So as you can see, there are two types of reactions happening here. One is the inner core and another one is the outer envelope. So I will explain what is inner core and outer envelope. So as you can see in this image clearly, so the inner core is the part where so this part is actually called as the outer envelope. So it's the outer part of the flame, and this part is actually called as the inner core. So this is the inner core and this is the outer envelope. So in the inner core, what happens is that C2H2, this is acetylene, C2H2 plus O2 will give you C2H2 plus O2 will give you carbon monoxide and hydrogen. So since the inner core, there will be a less amount of oxygen, incomplete combustion takes place. So when this carbon monoxide again goes to the outer envelope, then what happens is that it forms the complete combustion, carbon dioxide is evolved and hydrogen, H2O, that is water is being liberated. So what the entire reaction specifies to you is that the burning of fuel takes place and temperature around 3300 degrees Celsius is being generated. So such high temperature is required to melt the metal instantaneously because it's a fast process. We need very high temperature to melt the metal. So what are the various equipments used in gas welding? The first thing is a weld torch. So as you can see, there are two nozzles here. Two regulators here. One is for oxygen, black is for oxygen and red is for acetylene. This used to regulate how much oxygen and acetylene gets into the mixture. So based on the various composition of oxygen and acetylene, the different types of flames can be generated, which we will see in a short while. And the pressure regulator for checking the pressure which is generated. And the safety equipments, welding goggles and gloves. So goggles are required to prevent the eyes from getting exposed to ultraviolet rays which are generated during the welding process. So it's a very hot, height, luminant process. So high amount of heat and high amount of light will be generated. So if your eye is getting constantly exposed to this heat and light, then our eye may get damaged. So we are using goggles and gloves for safety because as you saw there, the temperature generated is 3300 degrees Celsius. So it's a very, very high temperature. So safety suit, safety goggles should be worn all the time. So the working principle of gas welding, what happens is that the oil and water will get into the mixture. The oil and water, sorry. Gas and fuel and oxygen will be coming out of the nozzle, which will in turn be lighted to get fire. So that heat is used to work the workpiece by melting it. So there are different types of flame, as I said, based on the composition of fuel and acetylene used. So the first type of flame is actually a neutral flame. So as the name indicates, in the neutral flame, both oxygen and acetylene will be in the same composition. For example, if we are taking 50% acetylene, there will be 50% volume of oxygen. This image will specify the neutral flame. As you can see, it is a very well defined flame. So the flame can be easily seen or the flame is very visible. So it's used to weld different types of materials like mild steel, stainless steel, cast iron, aluminum, copper, etc. And the next type of flame is carburizing flame. So if you see a carburizing flame, as the name indicates, it will have carbon in it. So in order to have carbon in it, what you have to do is you have to add more gas, fuel gas. So here fuel gas will be more. So as you can see, fuel gas will be more than that of the oxygen. So temperature here generated is around 3100 degrees Celsius. So it will be slightly larger in volume size compared to the this neutral flame. So the bigger size is because of the more fuel gas present. So if more fuel gas is present, then oxygen will be less. So what happens is that the flame will draw O2 from the outer atmosphere. So O2 will be drawn from the atmosphere. So since it is drawing oxygen from the outer atmosphere, the flame gets bigger. So if you see the oxidizing flame, it is the smallest of all of these three flames. So why it is smaller? The reason because it has oxygen on its own. So hence the name oxidizing flame. So but if you see the temperature generated in the oxidizing flame is the highest among these three flames. Hence it is used to weld steels, cast iron, manganese steel. So steel, something like this can be, high temperature metals can be welded using this oxidizing flame. So from this, you can identify what type of flame it is. So since you can start from here, since it is a large flame, you can say it's a carburizing flame. And since it is well defined, you can say it is an oxidizing flame. And obviously this will be your neutral flame. So I hope you understood the gas welding process, students. Thank you. We'll see about the arc welding in the next lecture.